If you have a parent or a spouse needing long-term care, especially nursing home care, you may be thinking about how we're going to pay for this. I mean, the average cost of nursing home care in the state of Arkansas is $8,834 a month. That's the average. Some of them are more than that. So today we're going to be talking about 4 different ways to pay for long-term care in a nursing home. The first way, and the easiest way, is the private pay way with liquid cash. You're just taking mom's checkbook, writing a check every month. I remember when my mom first went to the nursing home, I was in shock. My mom is just got out of the hospital, going to nursing home, and now we're paying a nursing home to take care of her because she needs more care than can provide it at home. I remember going down to the business office manager's office and just writing a check for her care. Well, guess what? They wanted again next month. Yeah, another check, and then another check, and another check. The problem with the private pay way is I equate it to like you got a sink full of water and someone pulled the plug and you're watching the water just swirl down the sink, and pretty soon all of the water's gone. And of course, when that happens, well, then we may be talking about way number 4, the Medicaid way, but let's stick with private pay for just a minute. You're watching the water swirl down, and of course, our job as elder law attorneys is to help you plug that sink as quickly as possible to keep as much water in the sink as possible, or in our instance, as much money in the account as possible to keep it from all running out. The second way to pay for long-term care, taxable assets. This is bucket number 2. You're taking money out of her 401k or IRA to pay for care in a nursing home. The problem with this is obviously tax. Every time you pull money out of the account, there's a tax hit. You may be taking minimum required distributions now, and this is what I call death by 1,000 paper cuts. Every time you pull money out of a taxable account, there's a little bit of tax on it. And if you take it out in one chunk, there may be a lot of tax on it, 15, 20 or more percent of the whole amount that you pulled out. Money in bucket number 2 is subject to being taxed. The problem with pulling money out of either bucket number 1 or bucket number 2 is that you're utilizing liquid cash to pay for care, whether it's care at home, care in an assisted living facility, or care in a nursing home, and it's going down fast. One problem with doing this is once you run out of liquid cash, the only thing left is fixed assets, which is bucket number 3. Bucket number 3 may be a home, a farm, commercial building, rent houses. You may be forced to sell things that you didn't want to sell because your mom or dad or spouse is in a nursing home. You got to come up with the money somewhere to pay for the long-term care. So you may have to sell fixed asset to pay for their care. But with a little bit of planning, it may have been possible to use some of the liquid assets, some of the cash, to help protect some of the fixed assets. With a plan, may have been able to have conveyed some of the fixed assets, land, farm, house, whatever, to your kids or whoever you wanted it to go to, intentionally creating a penalty period, and then use some of the liquid cash to pay through the penalty period. I know this is a bunch of gibberish right now, but just know with some planning, it may be possible to keep some of the things in the family you want to keep, but you have to start the planning process early before you run out of cash. We run into people all the time that says something like, well, mom's in a nursing home or dad's in a nursing home, and we're just spending down. That's code to me for, yeah, they're just spending down cash, writing a check every month until the money is all gone. Then they'll apply for Medicaid. Better ideal in many cases is to start the application process, the planning process early before all of the money's gone. And way number 4 is the government button. And we talk about 3 different government programs. There's others, but the main one's VA. If your spouse or your parent is a veteran, they may be able to qualify for different VA programs. You may check with your local veteran service officer in your area to see what your mom and dad is eligible to receive. VA aid and attendance may help pay for the care, and it may be useful where they're at home and the cost of care, at least in the early stages, may not be as much. Usually with VA aid and attendance, they may be able to receive a couple of $1,000s a month, and that helps a lot. But if they go to a nursing home, even with VA aid and attendance and their Social Security check, that in many cases, is about half enough to pay their long-term care expenses in a nursing home. What about Medicare? In our situation, Medicare would help pay for rehabilitative therapy. If mom falls and breaks a hip, she goes to the hospital, has surgery, stays in the hospital a few days. She goes to the nursing home to rehab and to work with physical therapy to get her up and moving again. Then Medicare will pay for up to 100 days total, days 1 through 20. Medicare pays 100%. Days 21 through 100, Medicare pays 80%, and you would pay the 20%. That's where it's great to have a good Medicare supplemental policy. So it's important to check on your Medicare supplement policy to see if you got the one you need. Just know that Medicare payment portion is like 100 days, and that's it. Then you're back on your own. And on your own means you're paying out of one of these other buckets that we just talked about, or you qualify for Medicaid. And Medicaid refers to themselves as a pay-or of last resort. You got to qualify for Medicaid. You got to be physically needy. You got to need a nursing home level of care. You can't just want to go to the nursing home. I guess if you or I wanted to go to the nursing home and pay out of pocket, I'm sure they'd rent us a room. But if you want Medicaid to pay for your room in a nursing home, you got to need it. You got to be physically needy. And they do assessments, very stringent physical and cognitive assessments to see if you need 24/7 nursing care. You got to need it before Medicaid will pay. You got to be income eligible and you got to be asset eligible. We've got a whole on-demand webinar called Medicaid Maze. Some of you've probably seen that. If you haven't, you got a loved one going to a nursing home, go to our website at ecaa.law and you can register to watch this online on demand, and it'll cover the Medicaid application and qualification process in detail. Just know you have options. You have options of places to go. You have options of ways to pay. It's very important to start the planning process early. If you've got a loved one in the nursing home now, just writing a check every month, paying out of pocket, know that they may have options. If they've got some money left, they can do some planning in some cases to help protect some of the money that's left. That's a lot today. You may want to go back and review this one again. A little planning goes a long way. If we can help you or your loved one in cases where they're paying for care out of pocket, give us a call, 501-843-9014. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.